So, can you give me some background on yourself from before you got into the aromatherapy supply and what ultimately led to it?
Okay, so I pretty much started out, well, I wanted to do a business, so I started the cleaning business. Um, with that, my first job, I went and I used chemicals and it was just like, oh my God, like what the hell is this? Um, so from then on, I was like researching, okay, what kind of products can you use? Then I researched on the internet mainly, what kind of, what else is out there other than, chemicals, bleach and stuff like that. Then I looked into, buying other, non-toxic chemical, like the non-toxic cleaners from, the stores and stuff. And then what I read about that sometimes they could be greenwashed, meaning that they will say that they're green cleaning products, but maybe not, or they're just not effective at cleaning. So then I just like really looked into the essential oils. And well, my concern with that was like, well, of course, it's a lot of safety and stuff sometimes with the essential oils, but when I looked into that, it seemed like the safest way to clean, but I was kind of like insecure because I was like, oh, do they really kill bacteria? Like, because customers like, I want bleach because, I know it's going to kill the bacteria. So it's like, oh, are they going to be effective? So I was using vinegar. But vinegar has its issues because you can't use it on certain wood or you can't use it on marble and natural tile and stuff like that. So that's kind of like a issue, if we go clean someone's house and then they have tile or something and we can't use the vinegar. Because of course the vinegar is antibacterial, and we use also baking soda. So we try to use like all natural cleaning products and adding the oils to it. So that's pretty much how got into using the oils, and then now I'm pretty much at the place where I'm blending them and trying to make custom stuff or just like make oils for people, like oils to sell, different blends and oils to sell.
Okay, great. So, can you walk me through the process of how you create your products and where you get your ingredients from?
Okay, so I get my products, it depends. I purchase before I was purchasing from a lot of US suppliers. Then I researched and I got into like some overseas suppliers. Then I buy from both, from here and from overseas. I try to buy I do buy wholesale. So that way I get more products, which doesn't mean I sell them, but I get them for cheaper if I buy them wholesale. So the process that I use right now, so like today after I get off the phone, I'll do like this blog. So I'm trying to like do more blending. So I'm writing blogs, learning about different stuff. So I'm learning about astrology, using the essential oils, and then also like kind of like spirituality in a way. So I'm kind of like trying to do kind of, how do you say, like I guess like a wellness type thing. So like a lot of the blends that I'm trying to come up with, like the one that I'm working on now will be like a money oil. Um, so even with that, it's like, okay, money oil, yes, I want, of course I want more money. So, but then it's, to go into the wellness aspect of it, it's like saying like, well, yes, of course we all want more money, we all deserve more money. But then there's like also like a psychological aspect of it. So which is kind of like what what I want to focus on, like making sure like I'm not just selling, you could get this money oil and you make, a lot of money, or you get a lot of money. Like I don't want to be, I mean, of course people buy that, but I want to I kind of like am at like want to be responsible, I guess, in a way. Like, okay, well, you could use oils. Oils are gonna help you. I mean, I can't say help you make money. It's really the oils help you in a psychological way. So maybe you could unblock the things that you feel, that are kind of like trapping you. From my understanding or from what I'm reading, it's like a mindset in a way. So if you have a negative mindset towards money, more than likely you're not gonna either strive to make more or, work for more or whatever.
So does your business have a mission or a mantra?
It's own your health. But I think maybe I'll change that around a little bit. Um, yeah, own your health, kind of like, yeah, even with, like I said, with the oils, like even with the money oils, kind of like it goes back to kind of like psychological stuff. So yeah, I think I probably will keep that, but maybe add something onto it.
So now, do you have a person or experience that serves as your inspiration?
Well, going back to when I first started cleaning, I think that is like a moment where it's like, I wanted to do like, I would say like even like with this stuff too, it's like, I do a lot of research on it. Then even with me creating the oils, I'll probably do like a painting or something like that. So going back to just, when I started cleaning, I didn't really expect to be using the oils, like, and then like I felt like at that point in my life was like, oh, now I just, I just work. I don't have anything creative to do. Like, I felt kind of like that, like, oh, all the things that I used to do that are creative is now out the window. I was doing real estate and then my cleaning business. So it's like both of them is not, I mean, real estate, you can be creative in a different way, but just not, with your hand or whatever, and cleaning, but it's just different. So I was just like, oh, and then when I started using it, I was like, whoa, like this is pretty amazing, that you could use these natural products. And like I said, at first I was kind of insecure because I'm like, are the customers gonna, they're gonna be like, oh, is this really cleaning the bacteria, or is it really cleaning the house? And once I clean, a couple of months, it's like, oh, and then I stopped using the vinegar, I stopped using the baking soda really, and literally I clean with soap and water and the essential oils. So that was a kind of like, in some ways, kind of like a spiritual way, in a way, like when I, in that moment, I was like, oh, I have these oils and I get to, you know, I mean, I wasn't blending them. I was just kind of like just adding them to the products or adding different ones. I wouldn't say like I was trying to craft a smell or anything like that. But then I still kind of like felt like that, like putting them together, you create like, when I clean someone's house with them, it's like, they're like, oh, especially like the peppermint or, it's always like a kind of like good reaction.
So what would you say has been like the biggest failure you've experienced and what have you learned from it?
I think in some ways maybe it's like being patient. I think as a minority business owner, maybe other people have these experiences as a business owner. But it's kind of like you wanna, you have a business, so you're like, oh, I want it to make money. So a part of it's like, you want to see it make money. I think that was my thing. I want to see it make money. And once it started making money, it was just like, I didn't want to really stop because it's like, oh, what if I stop? And then, of course, the pandemic happened. So it's like, yeah, of course, what if you did stop? And, because I was having like little issues with certain things. One, it was really mainly was with the employees in a way. It's like, of course, being a small business owner or a sole business owner, you have to do everything. So it's like managing employees, managing the customers, managing payroll, managing marketing, managing, your third party stuff. It kind of like gets overwhelming. So I think one of the aspect of it that I kind of needed to work, well, I did need to work more on is the employee training and even going back to, like kind of like this wellness stuff. Like even now I'm like thinking like, okay, and before I was too, I was trying to set up stuff where it's kind of like to teach people about their, mental health and stuff like that. So I think like that was like my biggest thing is like being, instead of me because I took on a lot of jobs and stuff. So it's like, instead of me taking on a lot of jobs, it would be like, okay, let me slow down, take your time. Because even to say during the pandemic, no, like customers were calling me. A lot of people were calling me. So it's like, no, it really did not slow down. So it was like, in some ways, like take your time. Like now that's what I'm doing. It's like take your time, blend, then also blending. I mean, if I'm gonna be really serious, right? It's in a way, I guess. Like, of course, I could just blend whatever oils, but I think like in my perspective, I want to be serious about it. So then sometimes I'm thinking like, well, I study astrology, so I have to blend them, of course, with timing and all this other stuff. Um, so definitely I have to kind of like maybe plan and prepare and be more patient versus like, oh, I have 100 orders, I have to take them, versus like, oh, well, you could take certain orders or do certain things, but maybe sometimes, just to kind of not take on too much per se.
Yeah, you really can't like spread yourself thin, especially if you're doing it alone.
Right, exactly.
So I know you touched about the pandemic, so that actually follows into my next question. How did the pandemic affect your business?
Well, I was already thinking about slowing down because I did before, like slow down to try to figure out, okay, what really do I need to do to move forward to make, my business, you know, because that we were getting bad reviews and stuff like that. So not to get those reviews, to kind of sort that out, to really train the employees. So there was that. And then so when the pandemic happened, it was just like, okay, well, it just kind of like gave the excuse to just, all right, let me not force, I don't want to take on customers and then someone goes to someone's house and they're sick and I really wouldn't know what to do. So it's like it just kind of slowed everything down. So I started focusing more on, because I didn't necessarily, I mean, I was using a lot of the products cleaning, so I didn't really care about selling them before, but I did have like all the supplies and stuff like that to bottle them, to sell them. Um, and then my issue, and it's still my issue, is like to create the labels. So the pandemic just kind of like pretty much just slowed me down, where it's like, okay, I'll focus more on selling the products versus doing the cleaning.
So what's your relationship with TIQC?
Well, so during the pandemic, of course, I think, right, I might have done a course with you guys before. But during the pandemic, I did I think it was the library competition, business plan competition. So I did that. I think it was 3 months or something like that, or maybe it was less. I'm not sure, but it was like 2 years ago now. So we did that together. And then after that, I've been kind of like using the program for the mentorship aspect. What else? But I've been kind of like trying to focus more on the real world versus online in a way.
Oh, okay. And so the last question I had is there any advice you would give to your younger self before starting out in service of advice for others?
With myself, I would say, just take your time. Um, like you have to, I think, I mean, it all depends on your business, right? If you want to make money, I think like in a way, maybe I should have looked for a partner. But if you want to like create like a service, if you want to create something for customers, that is kind of like, your kind of stamp on it versus, okay, you're, being a McDonald's versus being, I guess, I don't know. What's a good restaurant? A McDonald's versus a nice restaurant. So, it's like, okay, you could be, the McDonald's or the nice restaurant where you give it experience or whatever. And I kind of like try to be both in a way. Because I feel like even with the pandemic, right? It's like a lot of the customers weren't calling, but then it was like the excuse that I could give, like, no, because even after that, customers, I was cleaning myself, not utilizing employees. But even it was like, yeah, the beginning of this year, it was like, all right, no more cleaning. Just to kind of like take the time to focus on, trying to get this stuff together, and again, kind of like take the time to, create something. So that's what I would say to myself, just take your time. I guess to other people, I think it will be just like, your business, it depends on your business. And it also depends on you. So I mean, a lot of times I'm speaking to people about, their business, and they're like, okay, I have a mentor, I have this or that. And, the mentor will say, oh, you should, I mean, and I've done mentors with you guys. So it's like, even one of my mentors, sometimes the last one, he was like, well, I'm not skilled in this area, so I have to refer you to someone else. Where it's like, okay, you'll have one person who will just be like, oh, well, they don't really use social media. So they'll say, okay, don't use social media. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it depends on you. You have to like feel yourself out, feel your business out. For me, if I'm going to give an advice to someone that's just starting, my thing when I was starting was just like, I had the Nike brand, what is that slogan in my head? Just do it, just do it. So if you need like that type of motivation, I think like I would say like even like now now I don't really say that to myself, because it's like I do just try to do it. But then when I was starting, I was like, yeah, just do it. Just get up and just do it, like, whatever you need to do, get up and just do it. If you need to, well, with real estate, it was like, that was a little bit easier versus than cleaning. With real estate, it was like, I kind of like had a system with calling customers. So it's like, of course, sometimes you don't want to call people. So it's like, so then it was like, just do it. Like, it's 10 o'clock, just do it. Just call 10 people, just call 100 people, and you'll be fine. So that like, again, it depends on your business. With real estate, it's like, okay, I could just say, okay, just do it. With cleaning, it was like, okay, I think in a way, it is kind of just do it, but then it's like, you have to look for the customers, right? So I think like I said, it depends on your business. You have to kind of like adapt yourself. With cleaning, I can't just go to someone's house and just do it. But then maybe it's like, just go hand out the flyers, right? Or something like that.
That's the end of our interview. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.